The rain had been falling since morning, the kind that soaked through clothes and into bones, making the city feel heavier than usual. People hurried past the small cafe on the corner, umbrellas tilted, faces tight with impatience. Inside, the air smelled of cheap coffee and exhaustion. At a back table near the window sat a young woman named Lily, her hands wrapped around a chipped mug she hadn't paid for yet. Her coat was too thin for the weather, her shoes worn down at the heels, and her eyes carried the quiet panic of someone who had nowhere else to go. She hadn't always been like this. Once, she had dreams so big they scared her. She used to believe kindness was guaranteed, that love didn't disappear overnight, that promises meant something. But life had a way of peeling those beliefs away, one disappointment at a time. Her parents were gone, taken by an accident that left her alone before she even understood what alone truly meant. The relatives who promised to help vanished faster than the funeral flowers. Then came the jobs that didn't pay enough, the landlords who didn't care, and finally the eviction notice folded in her pocket like a cruel joke. Across the cafe, a man sat quietly, stirring his coffee without drinking it. His name was Daniel Hartman, though no one here knew it. To the world outside, he was a millionaire, the owner of companies that shaped skylines and markets. To himself, he was simply a widower who had learned how loud silence could be. His wife, Emma, had died 3 years earlier, leaving behind a house too large and a life that felt unfinished. He traveled often, not for business alone, but to escape memories that followed him everywhere. Daniel had noticed Lily the moment he walked in. Not because of beauty, though she had a soft, natural one, but because of the way she sat so still, as if any movement might shatter her. He recognized that look. He'd seen it in the mirror after Emma's funeral, in the days when breathing felt optional. He watched as the waitress approached her table, speaking sharply, gesturing at the mug. Lily nodded quickly, fumbling through her bag, her face flushing with shame when she came up empty. "I'll leave," Lily whispered, standing too fast. The mug rattled against the table. "I'm sorry." "Sit down," Daniel said before he could stop himself. His voice cut through the noise, calm but firm. Both the waitress and Lily turned to him. He reached for his wallet. "Put her coffee on my bill. And bring her something warm to eat." The waitress hesitated, then shrugged and walked away. Lily stared at him, eyes wide, unsure whether to trust what just happened. "You don't have to do that," she said, her voice barely audible. "I know," Daniel replied. "But I want to." She sat back down slowly, as if afraid the chair might vanish. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Rain streaked the window between them, blurring the city into soft gray shapes. "Thank you," Lily finally said. "I'll pay you back, somehow." Daniel smiled gently. "You don't owe me anything." That simple sentence broke something inside her. Tears welled up before she could stop them, sliding down her cheeks in silent surrender. She turned her face away, embarrassed, but Daniel didn't look away. He understood. Sometimes kindness hurt more than cruelty because it reminded you of everything you'd lost. They talked after that, cautiously at first. Lily told him pieces of her story, careful not to sound like she was begging. Daniel shared less, but enough for her to know he carried his own grief. Hours passed unnoticed. When the cafe began closing, Lily stood, panic returning to her eyes. "I should go," she said. "They'll need the table." "Where will you go?" Daniel asked softly. She hesitated, then shrugged. "I'll figure it out." Daniel knew what that meant. He reached a decision that had been forming since the moment he saw her. "Let me help you," he said. "Just for tonight. I can get you a room somewhere safe." Lily wanted to refuse. Pride screamed at her to say no. But exhaustion won. She nodded. That night changed everything, though neither of them realized it yet. Days turned into weeks. Daniel didn't disappear like everyone else had. He helped Lily find work, paid for clothes suitable for interviews, and listened when she doubted herself. She moved into a small apartment he helped her secure, insisting she pay what she could when she could. Slowly, she began to breathe again. She laughed sometimes, surprised by the sound of it. Daniel found himself looking forward to those moments more than any business success. One evening, Lily stood in Daniel's large, quiet house, staring at a framed photo on the mantel. A beautiful woman smiled back at her, eyes full of warmth. She was your wife, Lily said. Yes, Daniel replied. Emma, she looks kind. She was, he said, his voice thick. She believed in people, sometimes more than they believed in themselves. Lily swallowed. I don't want to replace her. Daniel looked at her, surprised. I would never ask that. But the thought lingered between them, unspoken and heavy. Months passed. Lily grew stronger, more confident. She saved money, earned respect at work, and rebuilt a sense of worth she thought was gone forever. Daniel watched her transformation with quiet pride, though a fear gnawed at him. He was falling in love again, and the idea terrified him. Loving once had nearly destroyed him. Loving twice felt impossible. One night, after dinner, Lily found Daniel sitting alone in the dark living room. You're thinking too loud, she said gently. He smiled sadly. Am I that obvious? Yes. They sat together, silence wrapping around them. Finally, Daniel spoke. I've been afraid to say something, he admitted. Because I don't want to burden you. You've already been through so much. Lily turned to him. Say it anyway. He took a deep breath, his heart pounding harder than it had in years. You changed my life, he said. You reminded me that I'm still alive. And I don't know when that happened, but I know it's true. Lily's eyes filled with tears again, but this time they weren't born of despair. You saved me, she whispered. When I had nothing, you saw me. That matters more than you know. Daniel stood, hands trembling slightly. He walked to a small drawer, opening it with hesitation. Inside was a ring, simple and elegant. He had bought it weeks ago, then hidden it, terrified of what it meant. He returned to her, dropping to one knee. I don't want to rescue you, he said quietly. I don't want to own your future or decide your worth. I just want to walk beside you, if you'll let me. Lily covered her mouth, tears streaming freely now. Will you be my wife? Daniel asked. Not because you're lost, not because I'm lonely, but because together, we choose to build something new. Time seemed to stop. Lily's mind raced through every fear she had ever known. The fear of being dependent. The fear of losing someone again. The fear of happiness itself. But then she remembered the cafe, the rain, the coffee she couldn't afford, and the man who saw her when she felt invisible. She nodded, laughing and crying at the same time. Yes, she said. Yes, I will. Daniel stood, pulling her into his arms, holding her as if she might disappear. But she didn't. She stayed. Their marriage wasn't a fairy tale without flaws. There were arguments, moments of doubt, nights when Daniel woke from dreams of Emma and Lily held him until the past loosened its grip. There were days when Lily feared she wasn't enough, when old insecurities resurfaced. But they faced everything together, choosing honesty over silence, love over fear. Years later, Lily would stand in that same cafe, now renovated and bright, holding Daniel's hand. She would smile at the window where rain once blurred her future. She wasn't lost anymore. She wasn't rescued either. She was chosen. And in choosing him back, she had found not just a husband, but a life she once believed she didn't deserve. And it all began with a simple question that changed everything. Will you be my wife?